This couldn't have happened in a much spiritual, soulful,
For sure.
happy, uh, vibrant way. This is energy attracting energy, truly. I've got an amazing guest for you today who's about to bring through some wisdom and bring her heart to the table. We're going to explore growth, we're going to explore purpose, and we're going to, I like to call the meat and potatoes that connects us all as consciousness. So settle in and get curious, and let's get right to it with my wonderful guest, NILZARA Rivera. And I'm hoping I pronounced her name spot on.
You
But if I
did.
didn't,
Thank you.
she's
Yes.
going to pronounce it for you. So I read your bio, but a little bit about you. Okay.
So I am a light language mystic on my social media platforms. I identify as a light language channeler and healer. And I am somebody who really loves light language. Like, I see this huge benefit to it, and I think it's underutilized. So I'm going to say that real quick. But I started speaking in tongues at the age of 10. And as a Christian, I felt like speaking in tongues was very minimal. There was, it was used for worship or to help people heal. But once I started deconstructing from Christianity and kind of stepped into the spiritual world, I was kind of like, what do I do with this? Like, I know it's not me. I know that when I speak in tongues that something is happening. And I remember asking God, what do I do with this? And then I attended a New Earth Ascension summit. And this woman was speaking light language. And I was like, oh my gosh. She sounds like me speaking in tongues. So, anyways, that really sparked within me something that I did more research. I learned about all the things speaking light language, speaking in tongues, glossolalia, static speech. I did all the things and I started utilizing it for my healing because homegirl's a hot mess. I mean, I'm better now, but I have such a crazy history that sometimes it's hard to put into words what I experienced. But once I learned what light language was and that I was able to utilize it and it was like the perfect communication with source, I was just like sold. So that I feel like that's kind of at the forefront of what I'm doing now is I am talking about light language, and I also talk about deconstructing from Christianity and people pleasing recovery. So it's all you'll see on my social media platform. That's like the three things that I'm constantly rotating. And these are all things that are very near and dear to me because they are things that I've experienced, you know. So the deconstructing from Christianity and the people pleasing recovery is real. And it has been a wild journey to see myself as one with source, you know, the I am, that whole I am, understanding what that is, learning what that is, being in love frequency. And so there's a lot there. I'm also very like outspoken and very um upfront with certain things. So, you know, I vibe with a certain type of person. Not everybody loves me just because I definitely don't fit into the category of love and light. If you love me, it's because I'm forward and I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. And I hope I can cuss. I'm sorry.
Yes, here I come from. I've got a sailor mouth. I
Okay.
raised my kids. I was a single mother, and they knew if you asked them who has a potty mouth, they would point at their mother and say, "Mommy." So
Yes.
here we are,
Okay. So
right?
I just wanted to make sure.
I never use curse words to define people, but I will use curse words as adjectives to define, like, oh, that's, that's fucking wrong. I'll say that, but
Yeah, sure.
I won't use that, and as long as I can get away with it on YouTube and Instagram, I'm fine. So you're
Okay.
good. So
Okay.
then Guys, what she has told me that I've got the right kind of questions for her, and we're going to get started. I had a similar uh, journey with my light language, speaking in tongues, and everything. It's just a little bit different, and we'll talk about that as well. So, my first question is: was there a season in your life that stretched you in an unexpected way or ways, and it led you to become a new version of yourself? And did that did that scare you? Did that what was that experience for you?
So I would say there's probably, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of moments where there has been some crazy changes that have happened, but I would say there's probably two in my life that were really significant. And the first one was when so I've been married a couple times, more than a couple. I've been married 3 times. So after my second marriage, that is when I really started questioning, what am I doing here? Because my first 2 marriages, I was very Christian, very devout, leadership in the church, in the crisis pregnancy centers, in the schools teaching purity. I had after school programs. I did everything by the book with both of these marriages, and they ended up being both domestic violence. So after my second marriage, I was like, okay, God, what are we doing here? Like, I feel like I'm doing everything I need to be doing, and the common denominator is me, because these weren't my first 2 abusive relationships. I have had plenty before this,
Mhm.
but now they just had a face of Christianity at the forefront because they were men with some type of leadership influence in the church. And so we waited to have sex until we were married. Like, we were underneath the pastor's wing. We were doing all the things. And then after my second marriage, that's when I really started to slowly peel things back. Um, and one of the biggest moments is watching Moana. Have you ever watched Moana?
I've watched Moana. Yes,
Okay.
Moana, the first one and the second one.
So I
I'm
haven't
gonna
seen the
tell you.
second one yet. But the first one is I watched Moana, and that night I text who was my husband at the time, and I said, I'm done. I'm leaving. And I never came home. Moana like inspired me. I wanted my heart back. I felt like the island, and I was like, I'm getting my heart back. I'm getting my
Mhm.
heart back, and I'm taking it back. And we lived in Nevada, and in Nevada, as long as both people agree, you can literally print the paperwork offline. We both sign it, and within 24 hours of submitting it, we were divorced. So it was
Ah,
like
nice.
a week from I'm saying I'm leaving. We had a friend that helped us notarize the paperwork over the weekend, submitted it on Monday, and then by Tuesday it was done. So that really was a turning point for me. But when I met my third husband, and I know that sounds crazy, and I actually knew my husband before this, my third husband, we were makeout partners back in the day, and we
Hmm.
just so happened to rekindle. Um, he provided me something that I have never experienced from a man, and that was just general safety. And I think that
Wow.
was a huge turning point. Like, everything led up to this point where now I can relax, and now I can start shedding skin. And once I started doing research and really calling God out on things, which I never did as a Christian, because we're not supposed to, we're supposed to, like, everything's black and white and this is how it is. And I felt like there was this yearning, like God was like, hey, come on, I have things for you. And I'm just like, I I'm not feeling it. I need you to
Mhm.
strip the crap, and I need you to connect with me in a way that I know it's you, or bring me people something. And that was when God started bringing me people who did tarot readings and read Joyce Myers at the same time. I don't know if you know who
Right.
Joyce Myers is, but she's, one of the like biggest leading Christian preachers out there.
Is she? Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. Yes, I believe I'm picturing her in my head when she speaks. She's very vivid and vocal in her face. When she
Yes.
when she actually, you can tell she's actually, you know what? This woman is bringing in the meat and potatoes of it, and it's just,
Yes.
she just, what she says lands with you, and then you take what resonates of it for you, and you leave the rest of it kind of like, leave whatever
Yeah.
doesn't. Yeah, that kind of thing.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, she's super powerful in the Christian realm. I loved her. I still love her now, but it was just weird to me. And I was mind blown that somebody was like, "Oh, I pulled my cards today." And then I read, you know, what are they called? Um, like the books that they have, devotional. Oh, and I read a
Hmm.
devotional today from Joyce Meyer, and I was like, what? You pulled tarot cards and you read Joyce Meyer? Like, that is so crazy to me. So that
Hmm.
was really significant for me. Not, I don't feel that a lot of women talk about men in this type of way, but I truly, honest believe because I was somebody that didn't know how to be single. And even when I was single, there was somebody always on the back line, So I got with my husband, but he was so different from what I had before that he created such a space for me to be able to like chill out
Right.
and explore myself, right? In a way, because I moved away from the family, I was with him, and I went through hardcore therapy, nothing like I've ever
Hmm.
experienced before. My therapist was amazing, and that's when things started piecing together. I started healing, and that was extremely, extremely powerful for me. And then the
Okay.
second time, oh, go ahead.
Well, with that, um, the question that I'm going to bring to this question to the forefront, because it was like my third question. But since we're on this already, you doing y- having the therapist, and
Yes.
did the therapist in this deconstructing, right? Yeah, you were learning to be. I'll put it this way. I won't veer from my question. Okay, hold on. When I deconstructed, I was literally, 3 years old. And I'll tell you why. Every time I had a
Mm.
question about religion, while I was, because I grew up Southern Baptist, not Southern, I'm sorry, Northern Baptist. Anytime Sunday school teachers said something that didn't fit with me, I might have been older than three. I would say, but why? But how come?
Mm.
That doesn't seem true. Tell me how. Show me how. Always labeled the disruptor.
Sure.
Sandra talks too much. I was the talker. I'm a Gemini. I think I was born as a Gemini simply for this, you know, for
Mhm.
for my soul to be a Patty Cathy. Okay, so every time I asked a question, I didn't know it then, but I was deconstructing what I was being taught. And my mother, I believe my mother came in as she was my guardian, my spirit guardian
Mm.
in human form. I believe she uh, did two things when she came in and took human form. She was my guide in human form,
Mm.
and she got to be a mom. I don't know what else my mom has passed on, and I don't know what else her soul had learned being part of that experience, but I know what I learned from it was she gave me the opportunity to ask any question I wanted about Christianity. And I didn't know it then, but that was my way of deconstructing. So I didn't go through deconstruction the way a lot of people who sat in church for 20 years or 30 years and now
Right,
has
right.
to deconstruct from being under all that tutelage of information that wasn't for their highest and greatest good, that was
Mm-hmm.
suffocating them. Okay, so my question is, what was your experience like going through that, or coming, or did you have to go through that, you know, mm, was it, how difficult was it to go through that and land where you've landed now? Because there are a lot of people that are going through it. There are a lot of people that said, just like you said, oh, I'm so messed up, you know, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Could you share? Do you feel like that's okay for you to share?
Yeah, yeah. So just for some, I'm going to share a little bit of backstory just to see how this compiled together. So when I deconstructed from Christianity, I deconstructed from a lot of things. So I am Hispanic, I am Puerto Rican, and I grew up with a father who was an addict, and my mom, was on the other spectrum, extremely like protective. And then I had an alcoholic father that was like, woo, who cares, So in that, I was introduced to a lot of things I shouldn't have been introduced to at a young age because of my father. But there was always the culture. So I had religion because my dad was Catholic, my mom was Mormon. So there was always like this religion, God and this type of thing in the household, even though it was a hot mess. So there was culture, there was religion, and then there was also gender. Okay, so all of these compounded and they all supported each other in a sense of like in the Hispanic heritage, we train our daughters to be wives, and we train them, from a young age. They're going to cook and they're cleaning, and they're most valuable as virgins, right? As you're going to save yourself until you're married. So all of these things kind of compounded on each other. So
Mhm.
once I started healing, and once I started seeing the bullshit that came from what I believed in, essentially, I had a really difficult time because I feel not only was I leaving something that I identified as like I was so proud of to be a Christian, but I was also getting feedback of I'm acting white. You're acting white right now. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I just don't want to be part of the craziness about I don't want to feel like I have to cater to my dad because he's an alcoholic, or I'm not talking to my dad. So how dare I, right? Like we Hispanics just don't do that. We write it together, even if we're toxic as hell and we're doing all the things together and we're all slowly dying inside because of how crazy shit is, okay? And so when I started deconstructing, it was like I was deconstructing the whole identity. Like there was everything was shedding. And so it was hard because my family like was like, what do you mean? What are you doing? Oh my gosh, this is witchcraft. This is you're going to hell. And then the
Mhm.
people closest to me, all of my friends were my friends because we were Christian. And we had been Christians together for years. I mean, we served together. We did so many community events together. I come from a small town, so it's like I was shedding these layers, and the way that people responded to me, and they still do. Like I just had a recent breakup with two friends within like the last couple of weeks, but it was just really disappointing that some of these people I hadn't talked to in years, they not once checked in on me to see how I was doing. oh, hey, I see you're posting all this stuff. Let me get your story. Let me see what's going on with my friend. There was none of that. It was just like, you're doing witchcraft, this, that, and this. You're going to hell, and I'm like, this is not helping you guys. This is not helping, making me want to go back to church so it was really, really difficult in that time. And I still feel that there's parts of me that are deconstructing. I feel like I've deconstructed. Like I don't feel connected, but then there are things that come up still that I'm like,
Mhm.
man, okay, I still have to work on this. But I don't feel connected. I'm okay with talking about leaving the church now. I don't feel ashamed about it. But there was just a lot that I
Mhm.
had to work through. I mean, a couple years worth of stuff of like coming into my own identity that's not Nilzara, the purity coach or the young adults leader or anything like that. I'm coming into me being a light language channeler and healer, and what does that look like for me, and having that opportunity to really cleanse. And I did a ton of research, a lot of prayer time with God and just asking questions.
Mhm.
um and allowing that to kind of show me which way to go and all of that. But it was absolutely difficult because the people that were closest to me that I thought would hear me out and would try to listen to me were like some of the first ones to be like, I'm done, we can't do this, like. And I'm just like,
Was that in
man.
the half of the Mormon half where they just go, okay, you're just exiled. We don't want anything to do with you, you know,
So the Mormon
kind of.
half was more so of my mom. I was more Christian. So I did church in
Okay.
more of the Christian way. We were still part of the Mormon church, but I wasn't active in the Mormon church as an adult. That was more so when I was younger. Never really
Uh,
active in the Catholic church, but my dad was Catholic. Like he was an altar boy and all that stuff, and he talks about that all the time. So there was that kind of
mhm.
influence there, but I took more to the Christian side of things, Pentecostal very much so, like laying of hands, people falling, speaking in
Mm.
tongues, like the real wild, rambunctious ones. That was what I was a part of. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah,
but it,
that's
it
where
was,
my first light language. Well, I didn't call it light language there. It was just we went to a Pentecostal church, my best friend and I, and at the end of it, there was one lady who was so. I just loved her tongues that she was speaking, and I just saw a light around her. And I turned to
mm,
my friend and I said, "I'm going to speak like that one day." And she patted me on she said, "Okay, Sandy,"
okay,
kind of,
okay.
okay, you know, um, but it wasn't condescending, but she knew me. She knew that once something got hold of me, that it was going to happen. I didn't know about the law of attraction then or any of that, the energies or anything. She just, said, "Okay, let's go get something to eat," that kind of thing. And
Hmm,
it took
hmm.
me till I was in my um, till 4 years ago, and I'm 67 now, and so so 65, my light language came in, and I'm going to tell you, it did not sound like anything that people were speaking light language on Instagram as, because Nazar that I would hear sounded so like fairies. Do you know, it sounded
Yes,
fairy-ish, right? And mine didn't
yes.
sound that way. So I had to question myself, is this really real? And it came after a deep meditation, a deep water meditation. And I had to say, when I heard it, even though I could feel it was coming through my lip, I was looking all around like, who's that? You know, like, do you know what I mean? And it
Yes.
wasn't right. It was like, oh, I'm being played a trick on. Like my ego is
Mm,
playing a trick on me. You must really want this so bad, so I'm going to sound like it, right? Until one
mm,
day on my Instagram, there was a young lady um, that came into a, we did, I don't know, we did a live, and there was some other people that came into the live. But when she came into the live, she first she came in singing her light language, and then she went into voice, and immediately my higher self said, that's you, that's the sound, right? That's what you're looking for.
mm,
Now it became real to me. And she's the one that
mm,
helped me learn a little bit more about the grounding into it, and that I was a light language. People would say to me, well, when I heard you light language, my light language started to see. I didn't think I was, what do you call it, a light language,
an
uh yeah,
activator.
activator, yeah.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
Shauna came back and she says, well, I went into meditation and asked. Now I can give you the answer that divine gave me for you, and then you can take it uh into your meditational moment and ask for confirmation. I
Mm-hmm.
And she said, you're not only an activator, you are a channeler. It, and
Mm-hmm.
people would ask me to translate, but I don't translate. Every once in a
Yes.
while, the translation will come through, but it doesn't stick with me.
Mm-hmm,
It's not
mm-hmm.
like it's not like I remember it, right? It comes in, it goes out, and then the divine will say, tell them that their soul can translate it for them, and for them to take
Yes.
what resonates and leave what doesn't. And I went,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and that's it. And the divine said,
Yep.
you're the vessel. You're the vessel.
Yep.
You asked me, right? But the first time I ever spoke it on TikTok, I had a gentleman come into the, not the chat, but make a comment. And I remember this comment because the divine told me, you're going to remember that. And he says, I call it, because I tagged it with light language and that whole kind of thing, light language for earth consciousness and humanity. And so he decided he needed to tell me, sounds like tongues to me, and you should be old enough to know better. Why are you doing stuff like this, right? And then uh, and what I did is nothing. I just went, let it be so. That's his. I didn't even interact. I didn't delete it because
Yeah.
it's his choice to have that perspective of it. Why delete it? That's what I'm there for. When certain
Mm-hmm.
people are when they are decided to awaken to it, they'll know their calling in it. Their higher beings will discern it or help them discern it. So
Yeah.
mine has been a whole ride because it's like it literally, I don't know, I think I was 12 when I heard that lady speak, and here I'm, you know 65,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I'm going, why has it waited so long, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know
Yeah.
so
Um,
but um go go ahead and finish. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that was like, oh, this is
no,
the
that's
perfect
okay.
moment for this.
That's great. Just to piggyback on that. So anybody who is exploring light language, and that's why I loved you. Because when I heard you on TikTok, I was like, oh, we kind of sound similar. That's more like tribal, I feel like. More like thuggish ruggish than it
Yes.
is like like the angelic, and I felt the same, whereas like I'm following all of these people who are doing light language, and it's very like soft and very like, like they should have a halo. And I'm
Yes.
just like over here, like thugging it out when I do it, And so that's why I felt so drawn to you. And so it just is crazy how everything's come full circle. But I do want to say that it is okay when you first start to practice light language. It is okay to imitate. It's okay to give yourself permission to remember your light language. And sometimes by imitating others, it helps remember, and you're giving yourself permission. But just know that you also have to get out of your own way, because there's a whole other there's a whole we have to remember that it's our soul's language. And our soul could be old as hell. And it can be like a bajillion, majillion years old. And for us to try to figure out where it's from and who and how and what is it saying, like, I think when it gets to that point, it's obviously our ego trying to figure things out. But we're doing ourselves a disservice of trying to figure out the little things here and there, the translations. What does this mean? Is this Palladian? Is this whatever, It's more about understanding that you have a superpower within you, that you have direct communication with source. Like you are literally creating light codes that shift your energetic being to support whatever your intention is with your light language. And that right there is huge. And so, to whoever's listening, like you might sound wild right now. It might just sound like you're doing your vowels, okay? But as you grow, it will evolve. My light language surely doesn't sound like it did when I spoke in tongues. It has absolutely evolved. And just not trying to get stuck on the logistics. Like, for those who are thinking like, am I making this up? You might be. However, when we do light language, there are studies out there that show that we are using a completely different part of our brain
Yes.
than when we are speaking in regular linguistics, right? So there's absolutely some type of connection, and it's documented in since ancient times across different civilizations, cultures, and religions. So we know that there is this universal language, light language, or whatever. Glossolalia, static speech is also other terms that is used other than light language and speaking in tongues. But there is a universal language that is like our personal language, but it's soul to soul. And that is super powerful. It is there to edify us. It is there to help us in every capacity. That even the smallest things, like you're having a hot mess day and you just need a moment and you don't have the right words to say, your light language does. Your light language, your movement, if you do light language in script, because it could come in different ways too, like your light language is there to support you. So it's it's going to take time. For some people, it's going to activate like that. And for some other people, there's other things that need to adjust. There's an alignment that needs to happen before that light language can come in. And just because you're not moving the way you want to, or doing script, or saying what you want to, just know that that light language integration has started the second you say that I want that. And you already have it. It's not about getting attuned like if you're going to be a Reiki master. It's something that you already have to declare that you have, and you want to remember it.
Right. Exactly. So for me, this light language was not the first gift opened up. There were many gifts like that opened up as I started to embark on learning and utilizing the universal laws, putting them into play, making them part of myself. I started to learn going from within to out.
Mm,
and instead of seeing everything that was happening on the outside, and my allowing my ego to, or my egoic or I call it my egoic conscious self. At that point, I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware that I was conscious enough with situations and circumstances that were coming up, and that I was the creator of the situation and circumstance. But I
Mm,
started to learn this and go, oh, okay, so I have to turn around and go from the inside and then create it from inside and see if it changes, the situation or the circumstance changes on the outside. It took a while. It's not, I'm still going through the
sure.
some people, I never called myself a hot mess, but some people would call me a hot mess because I was very Gemini. When I got my mind on something, I stuck to it, and I I tried to find out as much as I could about it, and then I would ride it. I would ride, even though the horse wasn't meant to be ridden by me, and it took
Mm,
me having the horse, you know, buck me, and me fall on my ass, and then learn and learn from that. It took me a while to go, well, this situation taught me something. What did it teach me?
mm,
Right?
mhm,
Instead of saying, oh, life just fucked me, you know, and then listening to other people say, well, the best thing you can do is get up and try to give it the old good, heave ho, try again, trying the same thing over and over, getting the same response, right?
yeah.
So
Mhm,
what I learned was to ask an embodying question. Then I learned,
mm,
oh, that's what I've been asking my whole life as a child. Go back to that. You know, my mom
mhm,
died in my 30s. So she was my buffer about asking questions, especially about religion or religiosity, about spirituality, about, trying to find out what resonates for me. And when she
mhm,
passed away, I went through that grief process where she's gone. But even that was a story that I was learning. Well, she's not gone, but she's gone. She's just, and this is Moana too. Her grandmother comes back to her as a mantis, not a praying
oh, praying
mantis. What?
mantis? No.
Yeah, but they call it something else when it's from the ocean. A manta, right?
Oh, oh, like a stingray. Is it a stingray?
Like a stingray, right? Yeah, like a stingray,
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
Okay,
So she
mhm,
comes back to her, and she, not to tell you the whole thing, but she comes back to her, and she tells, and Moana is questioning herself because she's got to do another journey, and she's questioning if she can do it. And she says something like, I miss you, grandma, or something to that effect. And her grandmother says, um, we're still together, just in another
mm,
form, right? So every time we learn something, it brings information to us in a different form. And I didn't understand that, okay, well, why did I only have 30 years with you? When other people are having, a lifetime, and their grandparents are dying when they're 101 and whatnot. What's that all about? Right? But when it was, so I don't know, it's been about 2.5 years, 3 years, and literally having who had the oracle cards, and we were talking, and we did a live, we were in a live, and we were doing oracle cards. I've been called to do oracle cards and do readings for people that are from not even just oracle cards, not tarot, but oracle cards. And even I
Mhm.
was told, open this book, just open it. You know, the divine said, just open it. Somebody asks you a question, open this book. This is where the answer is going to be. And just read whatever paragraph comes up. And I would just do it that way. Then I got my first set of oracle cards, and I was in this live, and this young lady from Hawaii said, we were talking about, she was saying, you're 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 in a push and pull, and it's about your mother. And
Mm.
I said, yeah, I'm in a push and pull because when my mom passed, I knew she was going to pass. I knew that there were things that led up to that. There were conversations that she had, and I was preparing her for that. But what I wasn't prepared for was that she died in her sleep. I mean,
Mm.
that's a great thing that she died in her
Mhm.
sleep. She wasn't in a hospital. She didn't spend a lot of time in a hospital. She died in her own bed, but I didn't get a chance to say goodbye.
Mm.
You know, what, and me, it was like, uh, I don't understand that. And so the lady says, you're in a push pull, and your mother wants you to know that she didn't give you a chance to say goodbye because goodbye wasn't part of the plan. She's still with you. She
Mm. That's
just became
beautiful.
your guide in another form, right?
Mm.
So these are gifts that started to open up to me, um, and which I believed helped me open up to the light language,
Mm. Mhm.
right? There were, I mean, even with Abraham Hicks, I always said, in as I would listen to her, I always said, and this is before the light language actually started to come out, I said, I want to talk to my soul that way. I want to have a one-to-one conversation with my soul that way when I meditate. I want to
Mm.
hear what her voice or its voice or their voices sound like. And one day, again, in the bathtub, it just felt like there was a voice that came through me using my mouth, sounding like it was talking through water. And of course, I did
Wow.
the thing again, and 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 it said, "Yes, it's us," right? And then that opened the gift. I think the moment that I surrendered to my mother being part of, still being part of my life, just in another way, that I could hear them.
Mm.
They could
Mhm.
speak to me, right? So it was like, whew, I can't believe this conversation. This is great. So in all that we said, how did that internal change influence the choices that you were making in these now moments, being on TikTok, choosing to show up and allow the vibration of the divine to flow through you and just be a vessel? And how does it show up in your family life? Does the light language, for me, I speak it all the time.
Same. Yes.
And some people will go, huh? And I'll look over at them and go, oh, you heard that? you know
Oh.
Sometimes it's just I'll be in a certain place, or I'll see something, and all of a sudden the my higher being will speak in my light language, as if it's having a conversation with another, like like a another higher being. Like I'll be looking, I'll go and I'll be in the fruit section and I'll be looking at apples versus oranges, and all of a sudden my light language will say, "Ah, nakakana yes, so cool, right?" And then, but I'm thinking it's all internal, and somebody will just look over and go, "Huh?"
Well, maybe I think sometimes it is, sometimes it's internal, but their soul is picking something up and they don't know. So you might be thinking it's in here and it is, but they're picking up on it, like they're hearing, you're an activator, so things automatically start happening when you're around people if they're open, right? So if they're open and you
Now
really
that you
think it's
mention it, maybe it is that way. Yeah. Because
mhm.
at first I would tell my higher being, please don't embarrass me. And my higher being
You're
go,
like, what does
we
that
got this.
mean?
My higher being will go, we got this, girl. We're okay, right? And I go, because I'll look around and I'll go, did somebody just hear that? Or if I'm waking up in the morning, that's the first thing that's coming out of my mouth is like, light language. And I'm going, well, I'm single right now. I know my significant other is is close. I can feel that vibration. And I'm going, I hope she not understands light language, but I hope that doesn't scare her off.
Well, I'm sure
Because
she'll be open to it. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Well, like my husband, I'm the only one that's on this side in my family. Like when I was younger, it was my goal to save everybody, right? For everybody to become Christian and we're all saved and we all could go to heaven together. And so they're all still saved, so I'm on the only one on this side. But like my husband, he doesn't necessarily understand what I do, but he just lets me be. So
Mhm.
if that's any encouragement, like there are people out there that may not understand to the full capacity, but I'm like, babe, can I practice on you? Can I do Reiki on you? Do some light language? And he's like, okay. So there's people out there that it doesn't even scare. She'll love you so much that she'll know it comes with you as a package.
Yeah, because I wake up speaking it, or I'll be walking my dog and I'll just start talking to him and actually speaking light language to him, and he's actually engaged with it. You
Of
know,
course,
so
yes. Mm-hmm.
so it's I think for me it does influence my choices, but I'm wondering if, I mean, there are other things, other gifts that you probably have opened up because of the light language, and that
Mm-hmm.
also influenced your choices and the way and the way it shows up in your everyday life. Are there any that you can speak of now? And welcome in Leah. Leah is another one who uh, told me that I was a uh, a, a like language not translator but activator. So, and
Mm-hmm.
her
Mm-hmm.
her light
Hi.
language, she finally surrendered, and her light language is so beautiful.
That's awesome. That is so good. I'm so glad. And as time goes by, you're gonna see it evolve and it's gonna blow your mind. But to answer your question, so the question is if how this has influenced my everyday life, pretty much.
Hmm.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Okay. So even as a Christian, I always knew that I was a healer. I always knew that I had gifts. But once I like crossed over into the spiritual realm, I really felt that significantly even more so. But I had to learn, let me see. So as a Christian, as somebody who has experienced a ton of trauma, I was a huge people pleaser. My trauma came out through people pleasing. So I was very distant. I was not connected to myself at all whatsoever.
Mm.
Everybody else had an influence on how I felt about myself, and that's just how it is. And for me, Christianity very much perpetuated that. It kept God outside of me, it kept my feelings outside of me. I can do. I was being, people be like, oh my God, you're doing God's work while I'm like dying. I'm like tired and exhausted. And I'm just like, can't tell you what I'm feeling, but I'm doing this in the name of Christ. You know what I mean? So, um,
Right.
turning over to this side, I always felt I had a love for God, but God was always out here. And I had to learn that that love was for me. And I was like,
Right.
what do you mean? This is really fucking weird. Like, what? So, I, as a healer, it was very profound to me that I had to heal. Like, my first priority was me. As a healer, I was naturally, as I healed, I was naturally helping the collective heal, and I was helping those around me heal just by healing, not by being, you know, a Captain Save-A-Ho, or like trying to fix everybody or doing all the things, that's not how I was healing. If anything, I was just energetically bleeding on everybody. I wasn't helping
Right.
anybody. And the people that I was trying to help didn't want help anyways, right? So
Right.
that gaining this and understanding these things, and as these gifts started coming forward, God really showed me and told me the importance of me first. And that was really hard because as a Christian, that's not a thing. We're sacrificial, right? It's Jesus
Right.
syndrome 100%, where it's like sacrifice, sacrifice, even down to the cookie,
Right.
right? Everything was sacrificial. Like my body is not mine, I'm doing everything. So that part, and being able to be somebody that uses my gifts in a healthy capacity, I had to learn how to heal, and I've had to learn how to prioritize myself. And that shit has been uncomfortable because as
Oh
somebody
yeah.
who heavily is like people pleaser, the fixer, all of that is just how I decided to show my trauma, right? That's how my trauma showed. But
Hmm.
to have to reverse that. I am presence, I'm love. Oh, that means I have to love myself because I'm love. I'm a unique expression of God. So like piecing all of these things together, as I get to know me, I get to know God. As I get to know God, I get to know me. As I love
Right.
God, I love myself. What? So that is the journey that I am still on, and I'm pretty sure I'll probably be on for a while. But so that has impacted me. And the hardest part is being able to establish new boundaries for the new versions of me that come forward. And then allowing the people around me to adjust to that. Because as somebody
Right.
who identified as a people pleaser, like we don't like feelings. Nobody can feel sad around me because I'm going to make you happy. I'm going to do everything I
Exactly.
need to.
That's the way I was too.
Yes, and that's just not a thing. But as I grow and I understand now, I was actually taking away opportunities for people to learn and to process their own emotions because I was cutting my emotions off by taking care of somebody else, and then not allowing them to take care of their self as well. So that's probably one of
Yeah.
the hardest things, is like being able to sit back and be like, okay, I don't like this, and this is it, and this is black and white, and this is my threshold here. And then allowing like even my husband or my mom, right now we're in transition, our house is being built, so we're staying at my mom's house. And sometimes they just don't understand, they get upset, they feel some type of way, and I have to be true to myself. I always think about like staying in my flow state of the love frequency, right? And if I'm not in my frequency, then I can't be of love for the things that I'm doing with other
Right.
people. So I have to stay here, and if these people experiencing what they need to experience, like they don't like that, then eventually they'll leave, and some of them have
Right.
left. But some of them, they adjust and they acclimate, And then we move
Yeah.
on to the next thing. And then all of a sudden they're
Yeah,
starting to
some of them
grow and they're
adjust,
starting to
or some of
stretch.
them
Go ahead. Yeah.
some of them some of them still tell me, "Oh, you need to have a come to Jesus moment." And then
Oh
I'll
yeah.
just go, "Been there, done that," because I did the born again Christian thing, and
Mm-hmm.
and to tell you the truth, I did it. How do I put this? I did it. I rededicated my life to to Jesus. Said again, even though I didn't really believe it, that I've sinned and His blood has washed me clean, and now I'm gonna have to work, twice as hard to, so that when I die, I have a place in heaven, and that whole kind of thing. And I uh, I I don't tell you the truth. I was still really at that time in my 30s hurting because I lost my mom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh, well, why not just stop asking what ifs and all the questions? Why not just settle into a a a a type of Christian, you know, community. And I thought going into the non denominational, well, if it doesn't say Baptist or holiness or whatnot, and it's non denominational and it's born again Christian thing, oh, that'd be good for me. And I went in, but they weren't teaching me how to apply it to my life. All I was
Yes.
learning was what I needed to say to the next person to save their soul or get them to save their
Yes.
soul. And I
Mm-hmm.
said it long enough to as many people as I could that one day when I said it, it felt dirty in my mouth.
Mm.
I said to myself, what did I just say? And if
Mm.
I was in that person's shoes, would I want somebody to say that to me? And here we go. This was the catalyst by which the little Sandra, the younger Sandra, would say, what if? How
Mm.
about? What does that even mean? That's not the God
Mm-hmm.
that I want to I want to serve. You're telling me God is outside
Absolutely.
of myself and he's that mean, and you're saying it's a he, and you're saying that it's outside, and you're saying that he wants us to prove, he doesn't want us to just accept and love and bring us into the fold because he loves us. We have to prove ourselves. So I get to go say to other people, you're going to burn in hell if you don't change your ways. And some people would say, well, let me burn in hell. Bye. And then there would be other people that were hurt by that. And I would just
Yes.
go, did I just do that? You know? And I had to, and as I started to pull away and go, okay, I've got to find, you mean God's in me? Well, I want to find that.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
that's what I've been searching for. I want to find the creator in me. And I would
Mm-hmm.
have people that would say, you're going to hell. I would have people
Oh
that would say,
yeah.
you need to have you need to have a come to Jesus moment. They would bring the Bible and bring the people and say, we're going to have an intervention here. And I would be to the point where I would just go, well, wait a minute, did yourself into my house to have an intervention for something that I don't want, all because you
Mm-hmm.
think it's right for me, and then that Gemini in me would go, get the hell out my house, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And and
Yeah.
and some of these were family people that were kind of, we were a close-knit family, but we were a close-knit family because it was all pretty much containable to religion,
Yes. Religion is
you
really a
know.
thick glue sometimes.
Yeah.
It's nothing more than
Yeah.
that. Yep. And I think about the things that I said as a Christian and that I even taught, and I was like, Oh my gosh. So I always, yeah, if you were ever part of any of my groups and I said some off the wall shit, I apologize from the deepest parts of my soul. I am so sorry. And I hope you're thriving, you know?
Yeah, well, I know I am. I know that what I there was be from, and this is from anybody that I follow, because I don't say that you have to. That's why I say take what resonates, leave what doesn't, because I do the same thing. There are
Mm-hmm.
certain things that I'll be on somebody's page for specific learning, and then they'll say something that might be off the wall, and I just go, okay, that was good, but moving on. And sometimes I'll stay for the whole thing and I'll listen to the whole thing. And if I can, I'll either like it, but I won't comment on it, because liking, because you can't show them that you liked a little bit of what they said. You can't, at that point, you couldn't tell them what resonates with you and what doesn't. But then the divine said to me, why not? Just tell them what
Mm-hmm.
resonates for you. Tell them thank you very much for saying that God loves you. You don't have to believe the other part that you're damned and going to hell if you don't love God back. If you don't
Right.
dedicate if you don't believe on the blood of Jesus, you don't have to tell them that part. You can just believe that God loves you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's really cool, because
Yeah.
that might help someone start to regulate what they need to regulate, you know, in their story.
Mm-hmm.
you know that might be seed that's being um that somebody's already planted seed. Maybe that's the growth that they need. Somebody saying, hey, thank you very much, loves me. I needed to hear that
Mm-hmm.
today. So I'm quite
Mm-hmm.
quite
Mm-hmm.
sure I probably did that with you. So you know
Yeah. I mean, you
because
can't
like, go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I was saying the fact that you said that your first Instagram page you deleted. I'm kind of going. I knew that we had connected. I just
Yes.
didn't know where.
Yes, it was on
Mm-hmm.
the first Instagram, and I listened. You were reading for the longest time. Like every night you would pop on and you would read, and sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you would do, like readings, and you did a reading for me, and it was right on. And there would be times where you would be doing light language, and I would be talking to you through my screen. Like, and then just like going off, and I'm like, what is this connection that we have? So I loved just like listening to you. I loved all of it. But then I ended up getting really sick. And that was my old
Mm-hmm.
business account. And after I got really sick, I just cut everything off. I was just like, this is old. This is, after I got sick, it kind of catapulted me into where I'm at now. So that's like that second one. I said there was two significant things that happened. The second one is I got really, really, really sick, and
Mm-hmm.
that catapulted my whole life. It changed everything. So um yeah, so when I saw, like I said, when I saw you on TikTok, I was like, oh, what is this? Because I had always thought about you. I was like, man, because
Oh,
even on
thank you.
TikTok, there's still people that I don't feel that sound like me. I haven't met anybody or seen anybody that sounds like me. And I used to get caught up on, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, this is Arcturian, or this is Palladian light language, or this is this, and they can figure out and they can tap into. And I was just never like that. And I don't sound angelic at all, you know? So I
No,
always was
I
drawn to
sound very
you.
tribal.
Very, yes, very tribal. I'm very tribal, very thuggish, ruggish. And so like I said, when you came up, I was like, no way, instant follow. And I made sure to tell you. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So when you I start started seeing comments come on my videos, I was like, she's following me back. Oh my gosh, like I feel so honored. I'm so excited because I definitely feel
Uh,
that there's a connection there with the light language for sure.
for sure. And I think that the light language is just a catalyst for more, right?
Oh
But
yes.
I love when you teach it. I love when you give the meat and potatoes of it, and you do it
Mm-hmm.
with such um vibrational grace. You know,
Thank
you're
you.
not there to make anybody do anything. You're just there to serve. Like on Wednesdays, I co-host on Wednesdays on my YouTube and sometimes my Instagram, and not on my Facebook right now, but with a gentleman by the name of Marcus Crystallite, and it's called Ascending Beyond Limitations, and we do the book reading of the Law of One, uh, the Book of Ra, and Ra is always saying in his books that we are our other selves. I am your other self. We're
Mm-hmm.
just experiencing life uniquely and authentically different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we are drawn to each other for lessons or growth or to help support, right? And
Yes.
it's the creator being you and me at the same time. Having this conversation, the creator is seeing what it's like uh, uh, to be you, and what it's like to be me, and then going, wow, I get along with myself, right? This
I
is
love that.
cool,
Yes.
right?
I love that.
Right. So it's really it's great. I'm just thankful and grateful that you accepted to be a guest here, and I hope you want to come back. You know,
Oh,
and
yes.
and
Whenever
and
you let me know.
and it is 6:08 now. So I've got my last question.
Okay.
What's one truth you discovered on your journey, whether it's a personal or universal truth, that you feel could spark growth in others?
Ooh, that's a good question. You're gonna have to give me a second with that one. Um, I think the biggest thing is understanding. So first, the I am presence. I think if people really grasped on to the concept that we are unique expressions of God. Like if God is the sun, we're the sun ray, right? Like we are God in human form. So we have, it is important to understand our human experience. We can have spiritual gifts, and most of us have spiritual gifts that have been turned on by trauma. You know, so a lot of us, especially those who are people pleasers, are identify as healers, very big empathic gifts, very psychic gifts that have been turned on because of our trauma, right? So we have these gifts that are online, but if we want to be able to control and expand our gifts and really have a relationship with ourself slash God, right? It's understanding our human experience. It's being able to live here. It's being able to understand our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And not only that, but to be able to act on them and to articulate them as well. And to understand that we are to be in a state of expansion, right? Anytime there's restriction there, anytime we feel restricted, every time we make ourselves small or we do something that goes against ourselves, that there is um that we're not able to flow in that love frequency. If God is love, right? We want to flow in the love of the frequency of love. And I think oftentimes people get that also confused of like the feelings of love, right? But being
Hmm.
in the frequency of love is a state of being. It's like the ocean versus the waves. The waves is the feelings, the emotions that come of love, but the ocean is love, right? The wave creates those things. So sometimes we have to recalibrate what our perception of love is and learn what that is from within ourselves to grasp a better understanding of what is happening in our world here. We came down here to this earth to have an experience. And so that means we have to learn our body. So then that way we want intuition into you, intuition into you. You have to know your body. You want to be in your spiritual gifts. You want to have control over your spiritual gifts, that they're just not online all the time. Like, I don't know how many empaths say, I'm always exhausted, I'm this and that. I'm always feeling everything. Well, you have control over that. But if it's enmeshed in your trauma, it's always going to be online, right? So,
Right.
anyways, coming back to that, it's so important that you unlayer the bullshit that is holding you back from understanding who you are as divine. Period. That is going to be the biggest thing is understanding your human experience. When you kind of shortcut and you're starting to work with all the things up here, but you don't have the grounding tools or understand what's happening down here, it's a huge imbalance. And there's so many things that can happen. But anyways, so that's my answer.
So, in a nutshell, know thyself from the inside
Yes.
out, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because that too is what I let people always know is there's no right and wrong in being you. You know, um, uh, uh, you get to ask yourself an embodying question every day, and be patient for whether your the higher being is giving you working with the answer, or whether it's your internal subconscious that's giving you answers, and then you get to question them as well. I truly believe that our egoic self is energy. It can never die. It just
No.
grows as a part of us when we open ourselves, when we surrender to knowing ourselves. Then our egoic self says, "Well, am I coming along for that ride?" And you're saying, "Well, yes." Because I'm going
Yeah.
to tell you, listen, being a literal vibrational fly on the wall inside this body, listening to my higher self and my egoic self have a conversation, blows my mind. It just, listening to my higher self say, "Okay, little one, she's got this."
Mm,
Especially learning the, like, we when we were talking before we came in to the live, learning the back end of all this, of YouTube and of Facebook and of your third party platform, and what you're going to bring to the how you're going to bring your gifts, and how you're going to implement them, and that whole thing. Sometimes it can be very overwhelming, and my I could feel my egoic self saying, "Okay, just stop, just give up." And I hear my higher being say, "Nope, nope, she can do some more. She's got this, little one. just
mm,
just give her a moment, let her
mhm,
take a
mhm.
breath." you know and I'm listening to it. Feels like I have uh multiple personalities, and I'm going, "Oh, if everybody could hear what's going on right now."
Yes, yes, yes. There's so much of that. Yes. And I love that because there will be people that, death to ego, and you got to kill the ego. And the thing is it never goes away. It's there it's there to keep us safe. But the only thing is that it can only keep us safe with the information we've provided it. So if we
Right,
provided our whole life that we are more valuable serving other people than ourself, it's going to keep us there, and it's going to have those little conversations of like, maybe you should stop now, maybe this, maybe that, So all of this stuff, it's going to try and keep you safe, but the more information you give it, little tidbits about this new version of you and the new things, then it's going to calm down and kind of slow down a little bit, and it'll be in support of you being all the other things. But it's there to keep you
right,
safe, but it can only keep you safe with the information you've provided it. So,
right. We know underscore survivor says, thank you so much, Queens, for enlightening us. It's such a great feeling to see the awakening of our soul, peace and love.
aw,
And
yes.
that's truly what it is our souls are having not just an awakening moment. I think I want to add into that, that our souls are just recalling. They're recalling. They've
Yes.
got to that point
They're
where they're saying,
remembering.
"Oh, I remember why I came. I remember why I came here. Ask me another question." You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
matter of fact, let me go in and check my shopping list. All that information is downloaded in our DNA. Our DNA,
Mm-hmm.
yes, it's part of what makes us who we are physically, the physicality of it, but our egoic system kind of holds that like a bowl, like says, well, this is who we are. And our higher self says, well, hold that bowl up a little bit wider because I've got to get some information out of it on what we're going to learn next. And I'm just like,
Mm.
just blows me away. It's like, oh, okay, dive into that DNA. I
Yeah.
came to do that. I came to be this. I came to marry my sweetheart, my high school sweetheart, and have 3 children. I was born in 1957 so that I could see all of these things, so that I can not only see all of these things, but interact with all of these things so that my soul could do the next journey. What's the next
Mm-hmm.
journey? Well, I had relationships with not just my high school sweetheart. I married my high school sweetheart, but I had relationships with a few men, and I was a single mother and raised my children. I personally think I did a great job, and I think my higher being said, yeah, thank you for uh, letting me experience that. And now you get
Yeah.
to experience what it's like to love a woman, right?
Mm.
So I'm going, oh, okay. This is the perfect
Cool.
uh, the perfect season, to be when I think about it, 1957, to experience all of the women's suffrage, or the growth and expansion of everything that we went through growing up in the 60s, and the graduating high school in the 70s, and getting married. I got married when I was 21. I was a baby. I
Mm-hmm.
knew nothing about it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And uh, then experiencing life, and then my higher being saying, okay, let me look at those notes, like the notes that we have on the phone. On our phone we have the little notes that we can write the grocery uh, list on or whatnot. And our higher being is saying, okay, let me dive into this DNA where I left all these notes at, and see what's next, you know and and then actually be able to have a conversation with my higher being and go, oh, that's what's next. That's why I had this feeling about this, or that's why I love doing this, or that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Gemini. We could talk a long time on this. I did promise you
Yeah.
that it was only going to be an hour
That's
at
okay.
least. So let's just thank you for sharing with us your journey and your wisdom. Like I said, it's truly been meaningful. I'm telling you. And to all our listeners, thank you for listening. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. This what we've been through is not the end all be all of what you should do for you. One
Yes.
size truly is not for everyone. So I want you guys to continue to merge into your fullest potential. I want you to flow into your next now moment. I want you to establish wholeness and balanced love for you and yours according to you. You're it's part of the learning process, guys. There's no right
Mm-hmm.
way or
Mm-hmm.
wrong way. There is just a way until it no longer serves you. And then the catalyst will say, all right, are you ready for more? So
Yep.
thank you for joining us. Do you have
Yes, thank
any
you.
last words to say before I close out?
Um, just thank you for allowing me to be here. And anybody that is on this journey, Um, obviously, you're not alone, right? You're absolutely not alone. And I think that things are going to get really, with everything that's going on and coming up right now, like I said, stressing the fact of you having that relationship with yourself is what's really going to have you grounded in all of this that's shifting right now. And you remember that you are powerful, you are creators, and you have the capability of living the life that you desire. And sometimes it's going to take healing. Sometimes you're going to have to thug some stuff out a little bit, But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, like you are a unique expression of God and you have that authority within you. And so remember that when you step into things that come with that stature of like, do you know who I am? Right? Hello. Coming into things like that. As you try to, switch up your life or heal or whatever, you come into it with that authority already and knowing. And if you feel like that's kind of weird, I don't feel that yet, then you challenge God. You ask God, show me. Okay, if I am that I am, teach me, tell me, bring me people, do whatever you need to do to get to that place. Like, advocate for yourself.
This is this is one of many, many ways. Infinite possibilities, guys. Infinite possibilities. Thank you for joining us. For those who will see us in replay, just listen with a curiosity and then take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If you have a question, leave it in a comment. I guarantee you, I will respond. I may not give you the best answer for you, but I can give you an answer from the divine that might help you get to the best answer for you. That's
Mm,
called growth and expansion and evolution. So thank you so much for being part of this. Thank you so much for being my guest. I
yes, thank
love
you.
you. So uh wholeness and balance love to you and yours this evening.
Yes, thank you. You too. 100%.
All righty. Everybody, be blessed.
Yes, thank you.
Peace.